into a shaft in the Crandall Canyon mine. Searchers again plan to bang on the drill bit in hopes of getting a response from 6 miners who haven't been heard from since the mine caved in August 6th. Reports suggest the rescue effort will be called off if there are no signs of life today. Meantime, mine co-owner Bob Murray is still taking heat over that rescue mission and the overall safety of his operations. He joins us now from Huntington, Utah, to talk about it all. Obviously, Bob, a number of questions for you, a lot of back and forth on this rescue mission and also the mine itself. Let me start with the recent talk about closing down this mine. Is that your plan, to close it down?
Yes, ma'am. Kyra, when I helped rescue the heroes Thursday night from within the mine, when I came out the following morning, I told Mr. Sticker, the Assistant Secretary of Labor, that that mountain is alive and that I have no plans to go back in there and that I would be submitting papers to MSHA in that regard. A rumor was started by the United Mine Workers. It's false statements. They've made false statements from the beginning, but I've watched them for 50 years. And they've preyed on the tragedies of miners and their families to put out false information to organize their union. They even had pickets out here at one of our operations during the time that I've been on this mountain trying to save these miners and trying to administer to their families. Ma'am, there was never any intent to go back in this mine.
All right, so I have 2 questions then for you. The first one is, let me follow up on what you just said. You didn't know. Well, and I want to make something clear because the media is getting a lot of heat, and I can tell you right now, as a journalist here at CNN and our entire news operation, in no way, shape, or form have we forgotten what each one of those miners has done. Not only the rescue workers, but the miners that are trapped in that mine. We realize after years of covering this story what miners go through and what they sacrifice to come home and support their families. So please understand that from us. So we are not criticizing what they go through on a daily basis. Now I want to ask you about yes.
I believe CNN has done an excellent job in this regard. I'm just asking for your understanding, ma'am, for the families of those who were killed and injured on August 16th, as well as those on August 6th.
And you know, Bob, it's understandable. It's never easy to lose a loved one or face something like this. I guess the saying goes that you just learn how to deal with it. You never get over it. But I've got to ask you about you. There have been times you haven't been able to come do a news conference. There's been talk about you might be struggling with a heart condition, that the pressure has become too much for you. I have to ask you, how are you doing and how are you holding up? There is a lot of pressure on you right now.
I've been at the mountain, Kyra, within hours of August 6th. I'll stay there until this is over. This is not about me. This is about the families of 6 trap miners and the families of 9 heroes. And I'll be fine. I'm doing fine.
So the next time we're going to hear from you, Bob, I'm guessing will be at the end of the day when you finish this final borehole. Is that correct?
Ma'am, I don't really know. I think I'll give you a report this afternoon on what we find after we drop the camera in the number 5 hole and in what we find in the hole, both on audio basis and a visual basis. But I want to schedule that conference in conjunction with the Federal Mine Safety and Health Administration, as we've done faithfully heretofore.
Bob Murray, Chairman of Murray Energy, co-owner of the Crandall Canyon Mine, I appreciate your time and just your honesty during this interview and for clarifying a lot of questions for us. I know that this is not going to stop at this point. Appreciate your time, Bob.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Kyra, you can see there, even during that interview when you mentioned, I mean, he appears to be out of breath. Folks were concerned about his well-being. A lot of pressure for him, not only for him, but also for the guys who've been going in there and the families as well.
I think it's tough for the families. It's tough for the miners. It's tough for those that have gone there to try to find those 6 trap miners. Bob Murray obviously has a lot of pressure on him as well. And I think the next step, not only talking about this final resting place for these miners, but I'm sure there's going to be a continued investigation into what went wrong, why it went wrong, what type of safety problems were there with this mine, and hopefully carefully. I mean, you look at Cute Creek Mine, Sago Mine, now this mine disaster. Something has to be done with regard to laws and funding just to make this job somewhat safer for these miners to go out there every day and risk their lives.
I think that's a consensus. If any good is going to come out of this, maybe it'll improve mining in the country and as well as throughout the world.
We can sure hope so.
We hope so. All right. Very nice interview. Thank you.